If you've been stressing about your weight, stubborn belly fat, or maybe your health is on decline, dealing with type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, or sleep apnea, in this video, I'm going to share with you one of the most important things that you want to start doing. That way, things don't get worse, okay, with your health or with your weight, okay? These are things that I've been able to help my coaching clients with to help them overcome and reverse health complications and issues like high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, sleep apnea, heart disease, things like that. And so it's a very important video. Um, a lot of times when people think about, living this busy lifestyle, whether they're a CEO, exec, busy professional, they just feel like, man, I just got to keep grinding and eventually everything else will take care of itself. And a lot of times things get worse. Okay. And so, I seen this coming up in my life. I grew up in a family where we used to eat soul food all the time. We used to eat, I used to go to the candy lady all the time. And, when I was young, I could get away with it. But when I got into my late teens and my early 20s, that's when I started to really, all the effects of my habits early on started to impact me. Okay. I started to develop a lot of eczema on my hands, on my feet. It'll be so bad. I got to the point I didn't even want to shake people's hands. I found myself having acid reflux because of my eating habits leading up to that point. Okay. I was eating cereal every night, Debbie cakes, cupcakes, pound, what do you call it? Honey buns. Like guys eating Oreos late at night, stress eating all the time. And it led me to having those issues later on in my teens and in my early 20s. And I just reached a point of disgust. And that's what led me on this journey to understanding, lifestyle, okay, which we're going to be talking more about in a second, okay? But I just wanted to say that because a lot of people don't realize what we do now, our habits now, our lifestyle now is what's going to affect our life tomorrow. Okay. Not literally tomorrow, but later on in life. Okay. That could be 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, 5 years from now. Some people I talk to on my game plan calls and I ask them, man, you're 30, you're 50 pounds overweight right now. If you keep doing what you've been doing up to this point, what's life going to look like in another 2, 3, 4, 5 years? And a lot of times it's not something that's, a pleasant thought to have. And so it's really important that you start making shifts and changes now. That way, the future tomorrow or later in life, you're not suffering the consequences of not doing anything. Okay. And so, the first shift that you got to make is this: we don't age into disease. It's our lifestyle. Okay. The lifestyle that I had of eating a lot of soul food and going to the candy lady all the time led to me having acid reflux, eczema all on my hands and feet, brain fog all the time. Okay. And so you got to ask yourself, like, what type of habits have you had that led you to the point where you may be overweight? You're having a lot of visceral belly fat. Maybe you're tired and exhausted all the time, dealing with brain fog, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure. A lot of people think these things happen because of their age or their genetics. And guys, I used to be there, man. Like I used to be there. I used to growing up. People in my family. I grew up with my granddad and his two sisters. And if you've been rocking my content for a while, my grandfather passed away when he was 46 years old. And it was like every 2 years, one of them passed away. One of his sisters, she passed away from, she was on dialysis. She had high blood pressure. She had type 2 diabetes. It was bad. But she was trying to hide a lot of it from the family. But I stayed with her, so I seen it. It was, man, it's terrible. But I say all this because we used to think that they were big boned, but they weren't big boned. Like a lot of people still to this day, some people think that they are big boned. But I've been to college for this. I've gone to Georgia State University, studied exercise science, studied nutrition. Not once did I see a big bone skeleton. And so if your family is telling you these things, guys, listen, it's the habits, it's the lifestyle that they've had or that you have had up to this point. Okay. And so it's super important to realize certain things that you may have heard in your childhood, it doesn't mean that they are true. It doesn't mean that it is fact. Okay. There's a lot of things that I thought were fact growing up in my childhood. When I got to college and studied exercise science and nutrition, I'm like, whoa, none of this was true. It was like insane, you know, like soul food is good for the soul. But all I seen in my family eating soul food all the time, a whole bunch of heavy set people having strokes, having high blood pressure, people talking about somebody else who didn't develop type 2 diabetes. That's all I heard about. And so be very cautious of your habits, guys. Very cautious. Okay. Midnight Squirrel says he believes what he learned in college 100%. And so that's the first thing. That's the first thing, okay? And so the habit of not eating as much, not eating the right types of food, if you're eating too much junk food, if you're eating too much fast food, okay? All right, it's fast food for a reason, just to give you some convenience at times, but it's not something to live off of, okay? If you're eating, you know, cakes and pastries like I do, a lot of sugary food, drinking a lot of sodas, juice. Back in the days, we had Kool-Aid. Now it's simply lemonades and sweet teas that people are drinking. And this is why so many people gain a ton of weight in a short period of time. This is why a lot of people develop type 2 diabetes. If you're going through things like this, even erectile dysfunction, a lot of guys are suffering in silence going through these types of things, and they don't say anything. But I see you, man. I see you, and it's thousands, tens of thousands of guys who are going through this, and they think that it is age. It is not. It is your habits. It is the lifestyle that you've had up to this point. So if we shift the habits, we shift the lifestyle, we can shift the results. Okay, and so that's the first thing. The second thing is success in business doesn't mean success in your health. Success in business does not mean success in your health. I know I have a lot of busy professionals, CEOs, execs, entrepreneurs that rock with my content, and we you just got it in you. You're gonna work hard. You know, it's just in you. You're not made to be average. You're not, built and designed in a way to accept mediocrity. And so you go make some money. But the issue is that doesn't mean that even if you're climbing in your career, that your health can't fall apart. One story that always comes to mind is Patrice O'Neal. This is he used to be a comedian back in the days, like really really good comedian by the way. And there were times when he would step on stage and he would talk about his health and the type 2 diabetes and the high blood pressure and all these things. He talked about his experience having these things. And then one day he had a stroke and he didn't move again in his bed ever. And it was kind of like how they explained it was like he was like a starfish, just like in the bed. He couldn't move. He could see, he could move his eyes, but he couldn't move his body. And then he ended up passing away and left his family with, I believe, I don't think he had anything left behind for his family. And I say that because this is somebody who was extremely successful as a comedian. Like hundreds of thousands of people knew him, climbing in his career, but his health fell apart and his health failed him. And so I don't say this to make you afraid, but I say this to make you aware, because a lot of people are just not aware that the habits that they have can cause these consequences to happen in the future. Okay, so super important. Sean, what's up, man? Hope you're doing well. No, Mike. Mike said Sean Porter's brother. What's up, Mike? So that's the second thing. Just because you're doing well in business doesn't mean that your health can't decline. It's super important to pay attention to both. People who are busy and successful, we see this all the time with a lot of successful individuals who making money, but they still taking care of their body. Guys, you got to take care of your body. Your body is your number one asset. If you don't take care of that, everything that you're building and that you work so hard to accomplish and do in life, it falls victim to your health. Because if you land on that hospital bed, the only thing you're thinking about is, man, I hope my heart go pull through. I hope my health go pull through for me. And so you got to you got to shift your habits and your lifestyle today, and so you can make sure your health is on point for tomorrow. Okay. The last thing, the real ROI is in your routines. And so I want to break down some tangible things that you want to focus on and pay attention to. These are things that I teach a lot of my coaching clients. We call them high performance lifestyle habits. Okay. And these are habits, if you pay attention to these things and you're intentional with these things, this is how you can really turn your whole situation around. I've had coaching clients who've had A1C levels through the roof. I'm talking about 11, 12, 13 A1C. People who are like, their high blood pressure is just out of control. They're on all these types of meds. Coaching clients who are so heavy, they had to get on pain medication because of all the stress and pain because of the weight gain. Okay. And so these are things I teach them. Number one, most people are just eating healthy, but they're not being aware of how much they're eating. And there's people out here who are eating healthy, but gaining a lot of weight. This is how we see vegans and vegetarians, and they're morbidly obese. Being morbidly obese is not healthy. You're dealing with aches and pains. You're having like mental battles and ruts, and people fall into depressions and things like that because they're stressed because of the weight. And so it's not just affecting them health-wise, but it's also affecting them mental health-wise. Plus the diabetes, the high blood pressure, the heart failure. The heart has to pump blood to the whole body. But if the whole body is too heavy, causing too much stress on the heart, what do you think happens? This is how folks end up having heart attacks. And so you want to pay attention to the quality and the quantity. Both are super important. They also call this calorie intake, protein intake. Pay attention to both guys, okay? See what's going on from Australia. What's up? I'm glad you found the content helpful. So quality, quantity, very important to be aware of. Second thing, your sleeping patterns. Are you paying attention to how often you sleep? How much time you spend sleeping? Guys, this is critical. A lot of people who are like high achievers, busy professionals, like we're doing a lot. So we need to have the capacity to do a lot. But if you're sleep deprived, that creates this tired, sluggish feeling, this foggy brain fog feeling. But you still have deadlines that you got to hit. You still have things that you need to do in a short period of time. This creates stress. And a lot of trainers and coaches don't talk about this, but one of the biggest killers out here, y'all, is stress. And so you have to get rest to manage your stress. You have to. It has to be a non-negotiable. Like when I was in my early 20s, guys, me and my buddies, we used to go out all the time. We used to, being out here in Atlanta, we used to go to the bars, the kickbacks, the clubs. We used to just be out hanging out. And very little sleep. We'll go to sleep 2, 3 a.m., wake up in the morning, go to class, go to football practice, all the good stuff in college. Guys, I'm in the bed by 9:30, 10:30 now. Because if I don't get sleep, I feel it the next day. I feel it. Like I'm gonna be tired, I'm gonna be sluggish, I'm gonna be working at about 40 or 50% of my true capacity. How far ahead can you actually get if you're only working at 30, 40, 50% of your true capacity because you don't have energy? This is why sleep is important. This is part of your lifestyle. I was talking to my dad, this was a couple of years ago. He was having a hard time getting sleep. And he went to the doctor to get like a sleep study done. And they were like, Mr. Charles, you got to make sure you start getting sleep because if you're not getting sleep, you can cut years, if not decades, off of your life. And, you know, my pops, he like my road dog, man. Like, this is somebody I trust with my life. And so I'm like, hey, man, we got to do what we got to do to make sure you getting some sleep because you can't leave him, man. And so, you know, you got to have the love for your parents. And so, long story short, he started getting more sleep. And now he's like waking up, having full of energy, feeling like he's in his 30s, even though he's in his mid 50s. And so, you know, your sleep. Another thing, hydration. Are you just drinking a lot of coffee, frappuccinos, or are you drinking water? Guys, nothing replaces water. You have to be drinking water on a daily basis. If not, you are what we call dehydrated. And you want to know what happens when you're dehydrated? Signs and symptoms that you're dehydrated: foggy, low energy. You're having sugar cravings throughout the day. You want to eat more food because you're deprived of water. Guys, our body is like, it's 50+% water. Like, if you cut yourself, you're going to start bleeding out blood. Your blood won't be able to run if you don't have water in your system, guys. This is important, man. Your organs won't be able to function the way you need them to. Your brain won't be able to think as sharply as you want it to. Now, guys, I've experienced this where I'm just drinking coffee all day. Give me a cold brew, then give me another cold brew, then getting a bigger cold brew from Starbucks. Wonder why I'm tired. So I'm like, man, I just had coffee. How am I tired? But that was because I wasn't drinking water. And so I was dehydrated. Habits, guys. And it didn't happen like right away. It happened over time. Like a lot of people, a lot of folks, they'll say, man, I'm 5'8", 5'9", I'm 250, 260. Or I'm 5'3", 220 for the ladies. It don't look bad though. I just want to lose like 10 or 20 pounds. No, it's bad on the inside. You just don't see it. You just may have been comparing yourself to somebody else who may be in a worse situation, but it doesn't mean internally things have not progressed in the wrong direction. This is how people develop sleep apnea. This is how people develop type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure. Oh, it don't look bad on me. My clothes still fit. I still feel good about how I look when I'm naked. But what happens when that high blood pressure and that type 2 diabetes and that extra weight affects your performance in the bedroom? Erectile dysfunction. That didn't just happen overnight. That happened over time based on the habits and lifestyle. And so if you want a better tomorrow when it comes to your health and your body, you got to change what you do now. You can't say, I'll get to it when, because I'll get to it when it's the new year. I'll get to it when I'm less busy. I'll get to it when I can hit the gym more frequently. This is how those things start to progress. Because throughout the when, I'll get to it when, that's where all the sleep apnea and the type 2 diabetes and the high blood pressure is developed. The extra 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds is developed because I'll get to it when. You have to get to it now. Change your habits now, guys. Sleep apnea is a real problem. Exactly. You're right, see? You're right, man. Also benefits water increase, especially alkaline water, hydrogen water. Yeah, drink all that. Drink water, man. Okay? Sleep more than 6 hours. 6 hours. Yeah, so, and that I want to give y'all some clarity on that too. Studies show when people sleep less than 6 hours a night, dramatically increases the chances that they can have they can end up being obese. And so make sure you're sleeping a good 6 to 8 hours a night. And as you get older, you're in your 60s, 70s, you might want to get even more, 8 to 9 hours. Like, guys, and you have to have this level of like self-awareness around knowing what works best for you. This is why it's important to get a professional to help you, because most people lack clarity and context around things. They'll hear somebody on social media say, hey, I work out this much. Hey, I sleep this much. This is how much you need to sleep. Not realizing, hey, it's people out here that can sleep for 7 hours and they can produce at a high level. And some people that can sleep for 6 hours, they can produce at a high level. Some people have to sleep for 8. They can produce at a high level. But it doesn't mean that you have to feel bad because you can't do what the other person does. If they can work out 5 days, but you can only work out 3, that don't mean that you got to feel bad. You just have to understand what's going to work the best for you and have context around how long it's going to take for you to get the type of results you want. That way you're not beating yourself up. Okay? Super important. But it's your lifestyle, man. Your lifestyle around how many days a week are you hitting the gym? How much calories? How much protein? How much fiber? How much water? How much sleep? You have to track these things, man. These are high performance habits. Jonah says, I'm 6'2, 190. I don't think I'll be obese anytime soon. Well, at the end of the day, you still got to have the right habits, you know. And this is a mindset that some people have where, and I'm not talking specifically about you, Jonah, but some people say, well, it's not bad. It don't look that bad on me. And it don't look that bad on me turns into, man, I don't even recognize myself anymore. My clothes not fitting no more. Man, I'm so tired. I'm winded walking up steps. I have people who get on my game plan calls and they're like, man, I took a photo with my friends the other day and I didn't even recognize myself. I'm like, dang, some different things do it to people. It could be going to the doctor and the doctor said last time, hey man, your A1C going up. Then the next time they go, after they said, I'll get to it when, I'll get to it when, I'll get to it later. Now they type 2 diabetic. Now they got to start taking insulin. And so get to it now, not get to it when or get to it later. Get to it now. Okay. Um, so with that said, guys, super important things I spoke about today. I try to keep these videos somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes, but we're a little over today. Hopefully y'all found it helpful. If you would like some help from me, where I remove all the guesswork for you, give you some structure that fits your life, okay? That way you can continue to excel in your career, but also have the energy that you want to perform in your personal life too. Have a great personal life without stressing, worrying about your health declining, worrying about your body falling apart. Okay. I'll drop a link down in the description below. That way you can learn more about coaching with me. Okay. Try to sleep study. You'll be surprised. How do you do that? Yeah, I'll let y'all continue to chat once I post this video. Okay. But super important topic that I spoke about today. Don't get to it later. Don't get to it when. Get to it now. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to get started. All right. We out of here. Let's get it. Peace.